We'll begin this morning just settling into the seat, finding your feet on the ground as much as possible. So if you need to bring the ground up, go for it. If you need to prop yourself up to be a little higher on your chair so your knees aren't super high, you can also bring a pillow or cushion underneath you on your seat. You can lean back into the support of the chair as much as you like and allow for your hands to settle, softening to land on the thighs or wherever feels most comfortable for you. Yeah, and just feel free to wiggle the position of your feet into a little more comfort here, ideally placing them underneath your knees so that you have that sort of structural bony support. And you're welcome to have your feet as wide or as narrow as is comfortable in your hips. So allowing here the weight of your thighs to soften into the seat. As your hands relax and rest, feel the releasing of your shoulders, softening and settling down the back, away from the ears. And get a sense of where your head sits in relation to your shoulders or the rest of your spine. And see if there's a way for you to feel the neck's length, longer, more spacious through front of the neck around the throat, back of the neck, base of the skull. So you might actually have to tuck the chin down just slightly to maintain more of that space into the back of the neck. That's the space that we tend to close off when we lift our chin higher. So just noticing any of those habits in yourself and paying attention to feel and sense the head as though it's a helium balloon floating up, not so much with the chin or the eyes, but through the back of the neck, up and out through the crown of your head. And then you can soften your eyes or allow the eyes to close. What lets you tune in to the space of your body, the space within. And one way to help keep your awareness here in this moment with your body is to pay attention to the breath. So let yourself become more conscious of the breath. Feel the inhale moving in and feel the exhale flowing out. And you can start to notice the sensation of breath moving through the nostrils. Is the temperature of the exhale any warmer than the temperature of the inhale? And then start to feel the areas of your body that gently expand or move from the inside out with each inhale. Yeah, as the lungs fill, what areas of your body expand, rise, lift. And then as you're present with the length of your exhale, following the breath as it leaves your body, what areas of your body release, softening back in towards the center, perhaps even noticing a gentle contraction towards the end of your exhale, deep into the belly. So each inhale is an opportunity to soften, relax the belly, and feel the breath draw in and down, letting the lungs fill, letting the belly expand. And then the beginning of the exhale, things again stay soft. We let out the breath slowly. And maybe towards the end of the exhale, we feel that gentle contraction, moving everything in towards the center, helping to push out a little more breath. But we want to make sure as we feel that longer, slower exhale, that we're not tightening up into other muscles like shoulders or jaw or neck or fingers. Feeling where you notice these movements in your body as you breathe. And trying to remain as soft through the periphery, the hands, the shoulders, the head, the neck, while we feel the movements more deeply into our body. So let's stay with that slow, steady rhythm, feeling the breath coming and going for a few more cycles here. All right, and then little by little, start to bring your awareness out again, sensing the space around you, and maybe hearing some of the sounds around you. And taking in a few deeper breaths, coming back to the sound of your own breath here as you start to reawaken the body. So we can move into the hands and fingers, toes, flutter the eyes open when you feel ready. Yeah, and just take a look around your space, moving into the neck a little bit, moving the eyes. All right. So I think we're going to start today. We're going to find some movements through some joints again, but we're going to explore a little more contralateral movement. So it's really good for the brain to move both sides of the body together. So, but we're going to start nice and easy and slow. So let's start with some wrist circles. I invite you to probably stay back on your chair for these first few movements. So let's begin with our hands, and maybe let's do both together at first. So start to just find circles in your wrists. Maybe you're circling with your wrists closed like I am, fists, gentle fists. Maybe you're circling with your hands open. So you could try both and just feel that difference. And you might notice that, especially when your hands are open, your circles look more like a figure eight. Yeah. So then let's feel the circles in the other direction. Okay. A few more in this direction here. Maybe again, switching whether you've got your palms open or closed hands. Okay. And then we're going to take the hands together. So we're bringing the two halves together, fingers interlaced, palms pretty much together. And let's see if we can, keep the movement out of shoulders and elbows and feel some of that figure eight movement again through the wrists with them together. That's it. And if, you notice lots of cracking and, creaking in the bones of the wrists here, maybe just take it a little slower or smaller range. It's not like cracking is necessarily bad. It's just if you want to maybe see if you can move without it. That's a fun experiment. Okay, try it in the other direction. Yes, figure eights in the other direction are definitely good brain work. So it might take a while to just figure out, okay, how does this work? Can you still breathe? Can you still relax into the shoulders? All right. And then just shake that out. And we're going to do that again, but this time with the hands interlaced the opposite way. So we tend to just interlace always with the one hand on top. So try it with the other hand on top. And then once you have that, start to again find those figure 8 movements through the wrists. That's it. So elbows aren't moving, shoulders aren't moving. We're just trying to focus it through forearms. We can feel these movements and into the wrists. Okay, so get ready to switch your direction of your figure 8. And it's like a double whammy of awkward, with your hands interlaced in this more awkward way and then trying to find the figure 8. Just do your best. You can always go back to the first one to try to kind of figure it out in your head and then try it in the other direction. Still breathing. All right. And then let's just spread and stretch out, palms forward. So as we're here, we can get this lovely stretch that comes into our fingers and into our palms, and we can try to pull our thumbs back towards us as well. And we'll feel that stretch probably a little more. Let's feel one more breath. Okay. And then shake it out and let it go. All right. So now we're going to start to find more of the sort of contralateral movement. So let's go ahead and start to circle into our right wrist. And again, you can choose whether you're keeping your fist closed or open. And then let's see what happens as we try to then now circle our opposite ankle, left ankle, right wrist, left ankle. That's it. And just noticing, how they're moving together. Are they going in the same direction? Are they going opposite directions? And then going in the opposite direction in each of those joints for a few more breaths. Letting the toes dance around. Maybe if you're doing the circles with your hand closed, you try it with your fingers open this time. Okay. And then just take a moment and rest, and just let's soften the body for a moment here and pause, sensing the change in the body through the right hand, through the left foot. And let's try it out first with just the hand, the left hand, circles. That's it. And then opposite foot. As we go circling opposite foot and hand again, notice the pattern that each hand and that each side has fallen into. And both times for me, the circles are going sort of opposite one another. And then circle the other way. And again, change up whether you've got fist open, hand open, or closed. Maybe slow it down, any pace that you can kind of track your movements. That's what we're going for here. So I need to remind myself sometimes to slow down. Good. All right, and then release that. And then let's just take another moment, feeling this change again in each side of the body, feeling a little bit of that connection between left hand and right foot. Okay, let's just go back to the upper body again. So we'll start by lifting our right arm up. Now you can decide if it's going straight up or if it wants to stay a little more bent in this sort of cactus arms shape, and then lower it with the exhale. And then let's go the opposite arm. Lifting, breathing in, exhale, lowering. And just try to follow this movement as softly as you can. So maybe soften into the wrists, soften into the fingers, letting the elbow stay a little bent. Yeah, or a lot bent. Okay, so trying to let go of that sort of stiff reach of the arm and more a soft float of the arm up, breathing in, and down, breathing out. Good. One last one on this left arm. And then we're going to try to move opposite leg. When we lift our right arm up, can you stretch further through the left leg? It doesn't have to go perfectly straight, doesn't have to lift high. Just sort of lifting or floating that foot up as much as it wants, and then releasing it down. So see if you can kind of feel like your hand and your opposite foot are connected, you know, through a string or something like that. And as one moves, the other moves with it. Yeah. Feeling the inhale and feeling the exhale. And then just keep the feet where they are and inhale both arms up. Exhale both arms down. One more time like that. Breathing in, lifting. Breathing out, lowering. Now I invite you to lift both legs at the same time, both feet. So this is where, you know, you want to stay back on your chair so the thighs are supported. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, resting. You could also simply lift just heels with the hands up and lowering heels down as the arms lower if lifting the feet is just too much discomfort anywhere in the body. Okay, let's go for one more of these. Lovely. And then take another moment here. Checking in. Okay, let's now come a little closer to the front of the chair and feel free to, get a little loose movement if you want into the hips, moving knees in and out. So we can also roll out and in on the ankles, the feet here, rolling out on the baby toe sides, rolling in on the big toe sides as the knees go out and together. Okay, and then let's get a little more movement going into our arms with the breath. So let's start like this, with the elbows out in this nice W shape, sort of towards cactus arms, but with the elbows a little lower. And just try to feel this gentle push back with your arms. Trying to get the backs of the hands to move back as well as your elbows. And we're trying to feel this without pushing the chest forward or the bum back. So trying to keep the spine pretty still. Okay. And then feel your inhale while you're here. As we exhale, we're going to take our hands one over the other to rest and gently press onto the chest. Feel as we inhale that opening, that gentle push back with the arms. On the exhale, try to cross the opposite hand on top, finding the open palms, gently pressing on the chest. Feel with each inhale, some of that space open, some of the strength maybe come into the back. Each exhale, crossing opposite hand on top. So, you have to kind of keep a sense, paying attention to which hand was last. Making contact with your chest and going opposite each time. And then we can start to add in some of the movements in the spine. So feeling as we inhale, maybe a little bit more of a lift into the chest, right? So chest lifts, and then we can gently round and lower our chin and our gaze and round just gently into the upper back. Feeling breath in. Feeling breath out. And you'll notice maybe how things are feeling down your back, especially when you're rounding. You notice maybe a little bit of a stretch, any tight areas. Just paying attention, noticing where they are today in your body. That's it. Now, when you're next exhaling, let's cross more hands resting on opposite shoulders as we round. Inhale, still opening. Exhale, crossing opposite forearm on top. And just one more like that in each side. That's it. Hand touching towards opposite shoulder. Crossing other arm on top each time. And then inhale, open up, and let's just be here for a bit. So we can maybe feel the breath moving us again from the inside out. So can you sense, as you feel your inhale, a little more expansion into the whole circumference of your ribs? Side ribs expand, back ribs expand. Can you feel that change, that gentle, subtle shift of shape in your body with the inhale and with the exhale? Just a couple more breaths there. They don't have to be your biggest. Just notice what you sense moving and shifting with each inhale and with each exhale. Good, and then let's cross as far over as we can. So what we might do is take the one hand, it doesn't matter which, over to the other shoulder, and we can support this arm either with the hand towards elbow, arm, or all the way up to the opposite shoulder. Just depends what's comfortable for you. Where do your hands want to land? And then feeling that gentle sort of heaviness of the upper body, elbows like they're weighted, pulling you down, so you get this lovely stretch into your back. Just go to where it's feeling comfortable. So if you're noticing an intense stretch or any discomfort, just back it up, lift a little higher. Feel another breath. You'll be able to feel it more easily into your back ribs right now. Now make note of which arm you have on top. So which arm is in front? And then open up. Breathing in. Exhale, other hand to the opposite shoulder. You can support this hand, or this arm, with your other hand on the elbow, on the upper arm. Maybe it can come all the way up to the shoulder. So the elbow is now underneath the other one. So find where you can go on this side, and then let the weight of your arms on your chest sort of sink you down through the upper body, the front of it, to open up into the back. Can you sense your breath here into the back? Wonderful. And then when you're ready, find the lift of the spine up, releasing the arms down, and just give the arms a little shake. Okay, let's find a little side body movement. Let's stick with one side at a time. So you could take your left hand to the seat of the chair for more support, or just let it hang down. It's up to you. I'm going to place mine on the seat, I think, today. And let's start again in that sort of W shape with the elbow. As we inhale, let's lengthen up just as high as you want to go. You could keep the elbow bent and lean a little to the left, or stretch the arm straight overhead. Find what's working for you, and then pull back, elbow down, coming back to center. So each exhale takes us back up through center as the elbow moves down. Each inhale, we find that space and length again, up and out from that right hip. Settled into the right hip as we stretch away from it. So just notice if your right hip is lifting with you and see if you can keep that strong base of support as we lengthen away. Yeah, let's go for one more. And let's hold this one. So we can experiment maybe with where our hand is facing. So if it's turning to face away from us or towards us, does that have a change in where your shoulder lands, how there's maybe less or more tension in that side of the neck? And just find where it's feeling comfortable for you, lengthening and softening into that right side as we breathe into it. So looking for less sort of collapse with gravity and more space and lift out of that right side. Yeah, just feeling that difference. Very good, and then we'll take it back down. Whew. And again, just notice, how does this right side feel compared to your left right now? And then let's take it into the other side. So right hand can come to the chair beside you, or just let it hang down. Left palm facing forward if you want, elbow bent. As we breathe in, rest into the left hip, stretch up and out from it. And then exhale back to center, elbow moving back down. Feel the inhale. And then feel the exhale. How far feels good to move in on this side? Each side lives its own life. We use each side of our body very differently because most of us are, sided, dominant on one side versus the other. So getting a sense of how this side moves. Good. Head is just following the same sort of trajectory, angle of the spine, so we're not letting our head fall down with gravity. That's it. Last one, let's hold it. So we're still long and tall through our spine as we're finding this gentle arc. Settled into our left hip as we're stretching away from it. Yeah, feel free to move the head even a little bit. Notice where it is. Can you find length through both sides? That's it. Bring the head back a little bit so it's more in line or between your shoulders rather than forward of them. Yeah, checking in with all those things for another breath here into that left side. Very good. Take it back slowly to center. Whew. Wonderful. Yeah, that feels more even now. A little more spacious through both sides of the body. And then let's go into a twist. So this twist is maybe a little different than what we've usually done. I think we did it last week too, if you were here, where we're gonna take our right hand in that sort of half W shape again, half cactus. And you can just let the other hand land beside you, probably on the seat of the chair. So feel breathing in, we're facing forward. And as we exhale, we're going to take this hand towards the opposite shoulder and turn in that direction. So we're twisting to the left. And then as we inhale, we can just come back to center. Exhale again. Hand goes across the body towards the opposite shoulder. Breathing in back to center. If the hand doesn't want to reach all the way to the shoulder, you can just rest it, upper chest, collarbone area, anything like that. So can we feel how as we turn to the left, the right side of our body moves forward, the left side of our body moves back, right? As we twist, and let's hold this twist to the left. And you're welcome to keep the hand here and just notice maybe if you sense any breath, any movements of the breath up here into this upper part of the chest. It's often quite subtle. Really good. And then come on back to center. Release that. You might feel a little different into the back. Having brought the hand across, we brought a little more stretch actually into this whole sort of spiral line through the back when we twisted. So you might be able to feel that. I certainly do. So let's try it on the other side. Right hand resting on the seat, sort of beside or behind that hip. And then left hand out in that half W shape. Feel the inhale, feeling long and tall through the spine as we exhale, twisting, taking this hand towards the opposite shoulder as we turn to the right. That's it, breathing into center. Exhale, hand resting on opposite shoulder as we turn. It's almost like the hand just provides this really gentle assist, encouraging that shoulder to move sort of back and down as we twist in that direction. Yeah, just sort of finding a bit of opening, right? Into the front of that chest and shoulder area on the right side. How does it feel to twist in this direction? Good, last one, we're gonna hold it. As we turn to the right, we can rest this hand wherever it happens to land. We could rest our forearm, elbow on our chest. And can we sense the spine's length, tall as it turns? How does our breath move us here? Wonderful. All right, let's bring it back to center, releasing that. Ooh, yeah, and just feel free to do any sort of movement that's feeling good in the shoulders. Shoulder circles are feeling good for me right now. Very nice. In these shoulder circles, if you want, you could also like let your hands slide on your thighs. As your shoulders roll back, it will pull your hands back if you let it. Just depends too how much movement you have in your shoulders, how much your hands are going to move. So I'm really not actively moving my hands here. My shoulders are passively moving my hands, which is kind of fun. Okay, let's let that go. Shake it out. And let's practice a couple sit to stands and we'll come on up to standing. But I really like to practice the sit to stands a few times because they're such an important exercise. So find out where your feet support you to stand up eventually out of your seat, right? So you might need to bring your feet further back. So your heels are more behind your knees. Your knees are going to be bent a little more. Most people find that more supportive. So the knees are slightly forward, but they're still pointing with your toes. So just make sure that's happened on both feet. And you can have a wider stance, you know, more stable, anything like that. Toes turned out a little bit is often more comfortable in the hips. Just find where your feet and hips want to land, where you can push into your heels, you can press into the big toe mounds, baby toe mounds. Feel that support already. Just by pressing more down into your feet, you'll feel that activate the muscles up the legs, thighs, and maybe even into the glutes. So we can start to rock our upper body forward and back, finding a bit of momentum to help us come out of the seat. And your hands can be anywhere at all. You could have them forward, you could have the hands together, you could have them wider, okay? The idea is to try not to push your hands into the chair to come up. If you really need that, of course, let that happen. But see if each time you come forward now, you can start to push into your feet. And as you press your feet down, you're gonna lift up off of your chair. Maybe it's just a small bounce. Maybe you're lifting quite a bit and then taking your time to come back to find the chair again. Yes. So you're noticing how your knees are bending and straightening a little bit as you're lifting and lowering, right? How do your legs help you? They're going to feel this pretty quickly. Up the thighs, into the glutes. When you come up, also notice whether your knees are going towards each other. And if that's the case, feel like your feet are pulling away from each other, like pushing down and wanting to drag out. Yeah, and that's gonna bring a little more strength through the legs. Last time, when you're ready for it, let's lift and hold. So we stay hovered for a couple breaths. Find that little bit of a squat. Hands can be anywhere at all. Feel your breath there. That's wonderful. Push into your feet. Come on, upright. Whew. And I like to do a little sway of the hips. You might have to bring your feet a little wider. Hips sway side to side, pushing off to one side, pushing off to the other. We could do some contralateral little dance here with hands going one direction. guess it's not exactly contralateral, but hips going the other. You could try that out. All right. And then, whew, yeah, that gets the heart rate going. A little sit to stand work. Let's find mountain pose. Find a bit of stillness for a moment here. So you might want your chair in front of you, where you could place the hands either on the back of the chair, or yeah, you could try that, or not. It's there if you want it. So let's feel our support down through our feet. Maybe shifting some of the weight forward towards the toes and back towards the heels. Just a little bit of a lean, not so much a lifting of toes and heels just yet, but a little bit of a lean. Can you find that lean forward without you lifting your heels? And that little bit of a lean back. Yeah, the lean back doesn't have to go very far at all before you feel like your toes are gonna lift or you're gonna fall back. So just notice the range. And notice, maybe noticing too, what muscles start to engage to help catch you in both directions. So for me, my calves really turn on when I'm leaning forward. Yeah, and when I go back, quads turn on. You might notice those muscles, different muscles in the body, starting to help you. Good. And then let's go for some heel raises. So let's lift the heels high, just as high as your toes manage to bring you up, and then lower. And just before you bring all the weight back into the heels, let's lift them again. So when we do this, you can pay attention. You could have a look at your feet and just pay attention if your heels are moving towards each other when they're moving down especially, and see if you can kind of feel your heels sort of moving away from one another as your heels lift and lower. Yeah, so just noticing that, trying to keep the heels pointing pretty much straight back from the toes, yeah? And you'll feel maybe a little more of a balanced support across the pads of your feet that way too, from big toe to baby toe. Let's rise up onto the toes and lower one heel at a time. So your other knee is going to bend. You could challenge your balance a little bit, right? By having less fingers on your support, having as light of a touch on your support as you can, maybe just with 1 or 2 fingers. Or you could let the hands hover. Really good. All right, come on up onto the toes again and maybe find a bit of balance there. I am, yes, challenging it for sure. And then try to lower slowly now. Heels down, letting them again move a little away from each other as they lower. Great. Okay, let's keep the right foot forward and step the left foot back. So I just step my right foot a little further forward, closer to the chair, left leg back, and see if you can have a look at where your left foot is in relation to your right. And if your feet are like this, like on a balance beam, bring that back foot out. Just bring the feet a little wider apart, left to right. And can your back foot face forward, where your heel can land with your toes pointing forward as much as you can. You're gonna feel a good stretch into that calf. All right, so let's go for a little more contralateral movement here. We've got our front knee bent and our back leg straight, shoulders somewhere up above the hips, feeling tall through the spine. We can rest the right hand if you want on the chair. We're gonna slowly send the left arm up. That's it, and as we exhale, let's lower this arm and straighten the leg. So breathing in, feel the arm lift as the front knee bends. Exhale, straighten the front leg. Arm can lower and even reach back a bit. Good. So now we're finding a little more of the movement through the shoulder here. So we're trying to keep the arm fairly straight with as little sort of grip around that shoulder, neck as you can. Last one, we're gonna hold, front knee bent, left arm stretching up for another breath, maybe feeling a bit more space into the front of this left side. Breathing into it. Then with your exhale, we're gonna take this left arm out to the side and slowly try to straighten our front leg as we come forward. Yes, so we'll come back up. Inhale, arm sweeps out and up as we bend the front knee. Exhale, straighten the front leg, coming forward. We're finding more of the movement now through our hips, while trying our best not to let our back round when we come forward. So how far can you go before, you notice your upper back rounding, your head falling forward of your shoulders? Yeah, see if you can move a little more from the middle of your body. Pelvis pushes back, bum back to make your way forward over that front leg. Last time, we're gonna hold. Yes. So let's see if we can take this left arm, stretch it out to the side. That's it. We could stretch the other arm out to the side if you're feeling stable. You can take that hand off the chair, reach out to the side for another breath here. Really quite strong in our legs and in our back, core, everything. Whole body is working. And then we can take our hands to the chair. So this is where you have options. You could bring yourself further forward. Forearms could rest on the back of the chair. You could flip the chair around if it's easy to do so and take your hands a little lower. It all depends on how much stretch you're wanting right now, right? Be where you want to feel the breath, where you can feel the breath, staying steady and calm. Very good. Go ahead and slowly start to bend that front knee, maybe both knees, in fact. You can push into the feet, lift the upper body, slowly making your way upright so we can step that back foot forward. Very good. And just take a moment, feel your feet underneath you, feeling a change probably in sensation down each leg. Each leg was working quite differently there. How does your right leg feel compared to the left one? It feels more solid for me. Okay. So let's try it out on the other side, shall we? Which one? Left foot forward, right foot back this time. So just find, an easy step. It doesn't have to be a huge step, because the bigger the step, the more likely this foot is going to turn out, because it's going to be too much of a stretch for the back of the calf and ankle. So how can you have your feet still about hip distance apart, or wider if you wanted, with your back heel pushing into the floor, back toes pointing as forward as this hip lets you, okay? So for me, this hip likes to turn out a little more. My toes naturally turn out much more easily than the other side. So not aiming for perfection, just aiming for feeling where this foot wants to land with that heel rooted. So front knee bent, back leg pretty strong and straight, spine in the center. We could rest our left hand if you want on that chair for support. Let's swing our arm up. That's it, and start to move. As we exhale, we're gonna straighten our front leg. Let the arm swing and circle sort of behind us. Inhale, let it bend, front knee bend as the arm sweeps up. Exhale, straightening, stretching the arm back. Feel those movements, a little kind of swing happening from our shoulder. As our front knee bends and straightens, our back leg stays pretty strong. And, finding and keeping that connection in the back heel. Really good. So again, this is contralateral movement, moving one side of the upper body, opposite side of the lower body. Bringing our two hemispheres together. Okay, last one, let's hold. And pause here, and we'll enjoy maybe a little more of a push down through that right heel as we lift a little taller up through the spine, up through that right arm. How does that right side feel as you breathe? And then let's take the arm out to the side and along our side body as we move forward over that front leg, straightening it. Inhale, arm reaches out as we bend the knee again, lift up. Exhale, sweep the arm wide as we come forward. So each time you go forward, sort of pull back a little with the left hip. And that's going to help you straighten into that front leg to a comfortable point, right? If the knee doesn't want to fully straighten, listen to that. Go only as far as feels good in that leg. We're not so concerned about lowering our front body super low, just finding where you can go with length and support through the spine. Last one here. Whew. Moving hips back, sending that right arm back, head in the opposite direction. And then we can sweep this right arm out to the side, try to lift it a little higher, working into our back. Maybe if we're feeling stable through the feet, we could send that left arm up. And you're also going to be working a lot more into core and back with the other arm off the chair. So if it doesn't feel good, just keep the hand on the chair for another breath. Very good. All right, and then we can rest both hands on the chair. Maybe the back of the chair is one where you want to stay, and allow for the upper body to soften a little more over that front leg. If you want to take it further, take your hands down the chair a little more. Really nice. Feel another breath here. Slow it down. Okay, soften into the knees a bit. Find more support down through your feet. As you push into your feet, you can walk your hands back up, either your chair or your body, and then step that back foot in together. Whew, really nice. Shake it out a little through the whole body, probably feeling a little more strength and sensation through the legs, up into the hips. Maybe we'll come into a downward dog just because it's a lovely stretch for that whole back, and it's a nice symmetrical movement, which we haven't done a huge amount of today. So you can decide whether you're keeping your hands on the back of the chair and walking your feet back until they're somewhere under your hips, or you're taking your hands to the seat of the chair and you'll find a greater bend through your hips, so more stretch. So feel what's good in your body today. Either way, you can keep a little softness here in your knees, right? So this way you can feel hips, sitting bones, bum reaching back a little more. I like to just kind of sway the hips a little side to side. Feel both sides lengthening back away from the head. And at the same time, can you maybe feel like your head reaches towards your hands? So you might lengthen forward through the neck as your hips are pushing back. So finding that balance of length through the whole spine in both directions. What does that do for you here? And once again, while we're in this shape, can we feel how our breath moves us from within? Really nice. Let's slowly start to walk our feet forward. And slowly we could either take our hands to our hips or keep them on the chair to come on up. Eventually, shoulders over hips. Wonderful. All right. let's take it back down to sitting. So as we have a seat, once again, I invite you to probably stay forward still for this. And let's just go back to a little bit of arm movement. That again sort of works the brain a little bit. And you have to pay attention to what each side of your body is doing, because we're going to ask for slightly different things on each side. So let's start with the arms along our sides. And when you inhale, we're going to lift the arms out, and we're going to keep going up with the right arm as the left arm just stays out to around shoulder height. Just go as high as feels comfortable with that right arm. And then on the exhale, as the right arm lowers, it sort of catches the left arm, and we bring both hands down again. Okay, then we're going to do the opposite. So inhale, sort of float the arms up. The right arm's going to stop, the left arm's going to keep going. Exhale, we take that left arm down, it catches the right, and both arms lower. So just see if you can find the pace that you can do this, where the one arm stays still as the other arm keeps going. It stays out at shoulder height. Breathing in. Good. Breathing out. And again. Last one, I think. And then we'll do both together a couple times, just to sort of bring the brain back into balance. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lowering down. So we're more familiar with like the bilateral movement, right? And the symmetrical movements. But the contralateral, opposite sides, it's a little trickier for the brain, but it's a really great way to sort of, concentrate. That's it, one last one. Okay, nice. All right, lovely. Let's do a little kind of self-massage stuff, but let's start with rubbing the hands together. If you have glasses on, now's a good time to take them off. Just set them on your lap and rub the palms together until they're nice and warm with the friction of that rubbing. And then we can just open the palms, have them cupped gently over your eyes, over your orbitals there. So there's very little pressure. You're just feeling the gentle touch and noticing that nice darkness and the warmth of your hands. And then one last time, slowly opening or removing the hands. Rub, find a little warmth, little gentle friction. And then again, gently cup. So you've got this nice softness to the palms, cupping your hands, no pressure on the eyelids. And connect with the breath. You could also just let your head sort of rest into your hands, like nod your head forward a little bit. That's quite comfortable in the neck and shoulders. Good. And then as you take the hands away, let's just start to massage a little bit with our fingers into like that third eye area, along the bridge of the nose and up along the center of the forehead. You could go up and down, and then you could start going across the top of the brow. Yeah, and out to the temples. So starting from the inside and going out in that nice arc. And then you could follow the arc underneath your eyes along the cheekbones, working from inner nose down and around to the temples. Yeah, going back and forth if you want. Lovely. And then take the fingers into the knuckles, just a few gentle circles there in different parts of, sorry, not the knuckles, the temples. Different parts of the temples, moving further back towards like ears or a little higher. You'll find different spots that you'll notice some little tenderness. And then when we get to the ears, this is a really nice thing. It's like called unfolding the ears or opening the ears. So if you like have your hands like this, palms forward, thumbs on the fronts of the ears, and then you just sort of roll them open, sort of from the inside out. And you go all along the top, down to the lobes. Just some gentle sort of tugging from sort of the center of your ear out on both sides, both the back of the ears and the front. Yeah. So good. And then go behind the ears and just give a little sort of scalp massage in that area behind the ears, towards the base of the skull, behind the earlobes. Yeah, and then actually along the base of the skull, fingertips massaging sort of where, you know, neck meets skull. See if you can find that, those two little bony ridges at the base, and go sort of underneath them and across and along them. Lovely. And then let's find just a little bit of tapping. Little bit of tapping. You can just use a couple fingers, just some light tapping along all those areas we were just massaging. So forehead, third eye, across the brow, out to the temples, around the cheekbones. Oh, we forgot about the jaw. Jaw. You could massage first if you want. I meant to massage into those jaw muscles, opening the jaw a little bit as you massage sort of just in front of the ears. Tapping there along the jaw itself, tapping. And also just under the jaw. This is where, you know, around the throat and around the below the ears. There's lots of lymph here, so tapping is really wonderful for all of that. Yeah, along the neck. Ooh, lovely. And then just shake out the hands. And let's return to our chair. As much as you like to help now relax the body. So getting comfortable, feeling supported, feet resting, thighs settling, hips, where are they resting into the chair. Back can rest into the backrest as much as you like here. And just sensing as you soften your gaze or close your eyes, let your awareness come back into your body. Probably able to sense new areas now inside the body. Feeling the outline of your body as you sit here. And feeling how the breath moves you as you let it. As you soften to the inhale and soften to the exhale. Feel how the breath shapes you as it moves. And then once again, come back to sense the space around you. Maybe deepening the breath a little more to help re-energize yourself. That's it. Taking in a full, expansive inhale. Perhaps sighing out the exhale. Nice. Letting the eyes open when you're ready for it. Yeah, let's go for one last breath together, shall we? Let's bring both arms out and up, float them up, breathing in. Gathering in all the good energy we've each brought to class, taking that down in front of the heart. You could even once again place one hand over the other and gently press that energy into your body. Very good. Thank you for being here today, for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.